Hi guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you. I'm staying at my friend's now, and find that I'm still. Oh, shut up! I find that I'm still sniffling. In the morning, I've got I'm not sure if I'm still recovering from that. I don't know what I had, a histamine attack, night sweats and stuff, intolerances, allergies, various things that I have. Well, not full-blown allergies where you have that anaphylactic shock, but intolerances that are chronic. You know, they linger. They won't kill you straight away, just like, the anaphylactic shock. But I find that I was thinking, why do I still have them? Why? Like, the place is clean. So my friend was saying maybe it's because I've just cleaned up. Because she's cleaned up, when you clean, dust rises up in the air. And especially the dust mite, not the dust mite itself, but the dust mite poo is so light that it can stay up in the air, I think for 30 minutes or a long time anyway. And so if you breathe that in and you're allergic or intolerant to it, then you trigger histamine release, or you trigger a kind of allergic reaction, or the body mounts some kind of defense, or tries to. So I think that's what's happening. But also, I just realized I haven't been out for a long time, and that's the, for me at least. What the hell is that? Stay there. That's the danger in living in the countryside for me. So hang on, let me just backtrack. I just went out to the car and I felt the air. I thought, oh, this is nice, I can breathe in. And that's it. When I'm at my friend's place, I'm indoors. When I'm at home, I'm indoors. And indoors is where the problem lies. Where you have dog dander, dog hair, dust mite poo, the dust allergy, where you have mold, where you have, I don't know, lots of different smells, off-gassing, I don't know, something, the paint, the carpet, and all these like fake, unnatural materials. And also inside is damp as well. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is, when it's damp outside, it tends to be a problem inside, because the outside of the house or wherever you live is surrounded with a dampness, and you tend to, when it's cold, you close all the windows, don't you? You close the doors and the windows, and that dampness can get inside, and mold can begin. Even though there's no visible mold, I think my body detects even dampness. So even when I'm not feeling like this so bad, when I go near the sink at her place or my place, I start sneezing, because that's where the source of the problem is, damp. And there are microscopic spores or whatever, and my body can sense it and elicits some kind of histamine release or some kind of attack to defend me. Well, anyway, yeah, right, going back to what I was saying about living in the countryside, you think it's so great, but it's not that great. Well, for me, it hasn't been that great, because living here in the small town, you can walk out of your house onto a pavement, onto terra firma, terra concreta. You know, you've got tarmac, you've got concrete, you know, you've got pavement, and you can walk for miles and miles and get exercise and see people, see things. But in the countryside, you can't. You know, I've got, 6 acres of land. It's no use. I can't walk on it, can I? I can't walk on that land when it's raining, when it's waterlogged. In the summertime, I can't walk barefooted, you know, when the grass is high, or do some grounding, do some, you know, when you ground yourself, earthing, do some earthing or grounding. Sleep on the grass, yeah, and then get bitten by a tick and then die a few years later. No fucking, no way. I'm not doing that. Don't want to get any Lyme disease. There's a story of a lady. That's when my wife had the money. My daughter had a teacher, piano teacher, used to come to the house once a week and teach her the piano. I was against it. I said, listen, we don't have the money, you know, but obviously she's got her way of thinking, you know, her own Chinese ideas, you know. Chinese women, they've got these set of ideas. You've got different women, they've got these set of ideas, you know, all to do with their culture and everything. You have Guyanese women, their set of ideas. English women, their set of ideas, you know. Some of these women in these cultures or whatever, they break out and they can actually think like come up with something original from within themselves, but usually they have these set of bloody, like Chinese women, I found, like, in so many occasions, as soon as they have money, they have to be treated like queens, or treat themselves like queens. Like, they don't do any housework anymore. They have to get a servant. Somebody, even if it's a Chinese person, like, of a lower grade. Because, you know, in China, they have like a caste system, a high level, low level. So they get someone from like the countryside, or someone who, it's just normal there. It's normal. You've got like a caste system. People who are regarded as higher and people who are regarded as lower. And yes, in China, if you are darker, you're regarded as a lower. And if you're lighter, I'm not saying white, but lighter, you are regarded as higher. They have face whitening creams that, you know, that in this country would be considered racist. And yet when white people try and brown themselves to a crisp, you know, that's fine. Well, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Yeah, so she had this idea basically of anyway, this teacher coming. Anyway, one story he told us is a friend of his wife was in Norwich in a park in Norwich. She sat down. She must have had a skirt, or I don't know, shorts or whatever, and she was bitten. This is in a public park. She was not some like really high grass kind of marsh area, woodlands, you know, meadow. No, in a public park in the city. She got bitten by a tick, and I think 9 years later she died. Maybe she had Lyme disease, and this thing burrowed into her brain, and she died of like insanity. It affected her brain, and it made her loopy at the end. And I thought, fuck that. I'm not. I've got 6 acres, and it's as if I've got nothing. As soon as I heard that story, I said, right, that's an omen. That's a sign. So I didn't go, every time I go out, I mean, I don't go barefooted. I go with my trousers on. I mean, of course, my trousers or jeans or whatever, without, not shorts, I mean, not bare skin. So anyway, see, my nose is just itching to sneeze. Just wants to sneeze. And I'm having difficulty trying to keep it in and not explode. Because when I sneeze violently. Some people, when they sneeze, they go, achoo. Like, you don't even hear them. When I sneeze, it's so loud, like everything explodes. So living in the countryside, what do you have? You have your own land. Even if you don't have your own land, you walk out of your house and you've got a lane. On that, you can walk on that lane, but you have to keep looking behind you because there's cars coming. Every once in a while there's a car coming. It's just fucking it's just stressful. Whereas living here, my friend's place, you walk out onto the pavement, and yeah, they say it's a rough area around here. Like, there's some drugs and stuff, but growing up in London, when they talk about these areas, like, oh, in Norwich, it's dangerous. They've had the stabbing. Yeah, stabbing. I'll tell you one story. I was at the time when I went to pick up my ex-Guyanese girlfriend in London. What happened to her was that she was walking to see her mum, because her mum lives close by, and she saw a black guy shoot another black guy here in the chest or the shoulder here, and she was behind, and as she walked past, she saw it happen, and she just kept walking, and he was walking behind her, and she was so afraid. Could you imagine? And she turned left and he walked straight on. So when I went to pick her up, she told me, and I said, aren't you going to tell the police? She said, no, I don't want to. I said, don't worry, I'll go and tell the police. So I went to the local police station, and this white guy here, the policeman, he said, I say white guy, explain why. Because he said, mate, I wouldn't live in this place. I would leave if I were you. And I said, I am soon. So even then, like back then, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I wanted to leave London. So what's my point? I'm coming to it. So I said to him, my girlfriend, she witnessed a shooting on this road. This black guy went up to another guy and shot him here in the shoulder. Not centrally, but here. Oh, he said, yes, I think we know. No, he said, oh, which one? So I thought he meant which road. I said, this road here. He said, no, which shooting? And that's when the penny dropped, the realization that London is becoming a shithole. Forget about shithole, a dangerous shithole. There were 2 shootings on that road on the same morning or afternoon. Maybe one was morning, one the same day. I thought, oh, okay. And then I had a discussion with the guy, and I said, do you live around there? He goes, no, I live outside. And I said, he said, I wouldn't live here. Even if they paid me loads of money. And I said, don't worry, I'm leaving. He said, yeah, mate, you better leave. Because they see the crime. They know people that have been blown away. There's I think there was a few crack houses there as well. Not a nice place. Along the Harrow Road in London, towards, what was it, Westbourne Grove, that area there. I don't know what it's like now, but now it's just full of immigrants from Somalia, the Middle East, I don't know, Turkey, Afghanistan. You could imagine what it's like. You could imagine what it's like walking there. like Kilburn as well. My goodness, these places are like hellholes. You know, like when people talk and they say, well, you're saying that because you're racist. No, I'm not. I'm not saying it because I'm racist. And then you get some white liberal saying, it's because the people are poor. There's places where people are white and they're poor, and there's not this level of criminality. I don't get it. You know, why blame poverty? You know, people are poor and they wouldn't go out and kill and steal. You know, it's almost an excuse. It is an excuse, because if you have some morals, you don't go out and do those things. It's deeper than, oh, I'm poor, so I have to mug all these white people because they, you know, sorry, I'm not going to go into that. I promised I wouldn't, so. No, because I mean, people are brainwashed, and then they will subconsciously or consciously target certain groups, you know, because they think, oh, they're the reason, they're the source of their woes, when it's not true. It's a lie, and you know, it gets them in jail eventually after they've killed a few. So they've done their job. You know, they've been used as foot soldiers and pawns of whoever it is, the system, whoever it is, you know, the media, whoever controls everything. What was my point? I was talking about my ex in London because, well, anyway, I'm leaking. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so I'd love to live. You see, you can't have it all, can you? Because my dogs, they can't live in a town. I'd love to live in a town where I just go out onto the pavement and, you know, just walk. That would be really great. But with 6 dogs, I can't. They will terrorize people. You know, why don't you train them? You know how difficult it is to train a pack of German Shepherds when they've never been trained. Why haven't you ever trained them? It's such a long story. But basically, they didn't have the right environment, and we've been trying to sell the house, and so they've been kind of prisoners inside the hallway and in the kitchen. Now, when I, funnily enough, bloody hell, that car nearly hit the other one. Funnily enough, wow, that was so close. It's about an inch. The car just reversed and just stopped an inch, and the car behind went beep. Oh my goodness, he didn't see. Sometimes you don't see how close the other car is. And my train of thought has gone again. Yeah, so as I was saying, right, yeah, about the dogs, yeah. So I'm at a bind because when I make this new move into a new house, I can't make the same mistake again, and I can't fall into the trap of, you know, living in a place that's gonna do me in, you know. So because of my constitution, my makeup, I have to choose a place, definitely a new build. I'm not going to live in a valley somewhere in Wales where it's all damp. I want to avoid places that are damp and use certain devices to help me. Infrared panels, a HEPA filter for where I sleep. And I was thinking of maybe of buying one of those, just getting some land, not on clay, but the house is built or land on that has clay, because that tends to waterlog, doesn't it? It tends to hold moisture. So like chalk, you have to think about, what the surrounding area, what the land is kind of made of. Its parts, as it were. I can't find the right word. So like chalk would be good. Clay, not good. So I want to try and avoid dampness as much as possible. And go out as well. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So now that I'm here at my friend's place and I'm feeling a bit better, I can go out for walks, and that's the difference. In the summer, I was feeling okay because I went out for walks. So I didn't stay in the house. I went out for walks on the pavement, Whereas in the countryside, I put on so much weight because I'm still eating the same amount of food, maybe even more, because I don't spend time walking. And to be honest, I don't know, maybe I'm not a country bumpkin. I'm a city person. I was born in the city in London. I lived in Beijing for 3 years. I lived in the Shanghai or near Shanghai in a big city for 3 years. And I've lived here 6 years. Was it 7? And I tell you, when I first arrived here, I thought my brain is going to deteriorate. There's no stimulation at all when you go out. Like when I was living in London or Beijing, Shanghai, as soon as you go out, there's lights, there's different people, there's shops, there's little dogs, people walking the dogs, there's life, there's something going on. When I went out for a walk, in the summertime when we bought the house, everything looked great. Loads of trees there, flowers and everything, nature. I tell you, it gets boring fast. How can nature get boring? It can get boring fast. You have forest bathing, a Japanese ritual kind of meditation, and certain studies show that this forest bathing, like you go for a walk in the forest, and it reduces your anxiety, and so the studies show that it helps with certain markers of health, maybe reduction of anxiety, blood pressure, cholesterol and stuff like that, right? So you would have thought, oh, living in the forest is fantastic. No. What the study is kind of showing is that people who live in the cities are stressed out. And when they go to walk in the countryside, or when they go to walk in the forest, they calm down because it's so different to the life that they've been living. And so that contrast relaxes them. But if they were living in the forest, they'd be absolutely pissed off with the bird noise, the animals, poop, sounds in the middle of the night, it would be stressful. So the brain kind of adjusts. It doesn't kind of adjust, it adjusts. And so what made you really feel relaxed? What make you feel relaxed in the future? You'll get used to it. You get used to that feeling. So yeah, so when I first came here, I went outside and I thought, this is bloody boring. And when the winter arrived, the first winter, it cemented in my brain how boring this was. So you have to make it exciting. Or maybe you just have to get used to it. But when I come here, this is a small city, pretty small. Just seeing people, walking around, having the concrete pavement and walking on the concrete pavement, doing some exercise, seeing people walk their dogs, seeing these billboards or whatever, different colours, they are stimulating to the brain, and I think it's good. Whereas when you walk in the countryside, there's nothing, especially in the winter. Above you, there's grey skies. You see, it's winter time now here in this small town. Yes, there are grey skies, but down here you've got different coloured cars. You've got disabled parking with a man in the wheelchair in black, and then there's a green sign. On the floor there's markings. The shop there, the co-op, different people with different clothes. It's exciting. There are lights. It's exciting for the brain, Whereas in the countryside, in the winter, grey sky, grey floor, tarmac is dark or black, let's say, or grey. Then you've got green, kind of green. If it's in the dead of winter, there's no green. It's just trees, barren trees. It's just all dead. It's just... that's nature. It's supposed to be like that. But it's not, for my brain, it's not stimulating enough. It's boring and it's depressing. Really depressing. And I can see the countryside making me more depressed than ever. At least in the city, as I said, you walk around, you see all these colours that stimulate you, and sounds as well. In the countryside, some people say, the countryside is so lovely, it's so peaceful. Yeah, it's so boring as well. It's so boring. But I love to go for countryside walks to be with myself. Yeah, I know, but you can have too much of a good thing. So if you live in the countryside already, you already are with yourself and it's quiet. So when you go out, if there was some contrast, I'm not saying there should be lights and everything, but I don't know. I just tend to like it when I come here and I see people, but, if I live on the edge of a village, let's say, I'd have to have my dogs really secured. So I'd have to spend quite a bit of money on steel fencing and two kind of fences within the boundary of the house. So if they get through one, they can't get through another one. So I have to make it really secure. Because as I said before, the police are like elephants. They don't forget. They've got a good memory. And then they'll just stack the last thing that you did like 10 years ago onto your, all your sins. Sins are never forgiven with the police, I tell you. So I don't want any dog trouble ever again. Right, so I better go now. What time is it? 23 minutes. I think I've spoken enough. I was going to talk about my ramblings. I'll save it for the next video. I don't want to make the videos too long. So I'm going to stop the daily videos. Chris Cully is probably going to say, when are you going to stop the daily videos, man? You're rubbish at this. I am, definitely. So, yeah, the daily videos will stop soon. Don't worry. I'll speak to you guys in the next video. Bye. Take care. Spiral up, whatever that means. And I'll see you again. Bye.